Daf Yomi Tractate Bava, page 19a, part 2, starting with the words Boy Mene Rabbi Abba Bar Mamel Me Rabbi Ami. Rabbi Abba Bar Mamel raised a dilemma before Rabbi Ami, and some say that it was before Rabbi Chia Bar Abba. If the animal was walking in a place where it is impossible for it to walk without propelling pebbles as it proceeds, and it kicked and propelled pebbles and caused damage, what is the halacha? The Gemara elaborates. This is my own commentary here. Every once in a while, I kind of interject my own commentary, and I've said this before, but Tzoros means projected pebbles. Seems like the most, what can be called moot point. It seems like the most abstract, untenable, not possible that it ever happened. If you think just in terms of physical science, a pebble, just imagine the size of a pebble and the force of an animal kicking a pebble causing any damage of any significance. It's very, I would like to hear anyone else's opinion, but it's very likely, and be realistic, really be logical, that Tsororos is a case that never actually happened. It's like a Ben Sora Mora, or maybe like a Sota, I think. In certain cases, they say it's a moot point. It's just basically you learn it to get schar because it will never happen. It never has happened. It never will happen. But there's something that is sacred and there's something that is meaningful about the abstract, studying it, and perhaps what it may symbolically represent. So that's an ongoing exploration of mine, that Tzoros is something that can be understood at a symbolic level, at a philosophical level, which can start at the gematriatic level, which means that if you do the gematria of Tzoros in standard regular Hebrew gematria, you get a result of 902. So then I would think about everything that has to do with 902 and all the permutations of 902. For example, 920 or 209. When you think about 209, then it becomes a whole different story. Tzoros can become something else, but I'm going off the tangent here. Let's get back to the Gemara. We'll leave that for a different time. The Gemara elaborates, does one say that since it is impossible for it to walk without propelling pebbles is its typical manner? In that situation, and the halacha in this case would be the same as any case of pebbles, or perhaps, since now, in any event, the pebbles were propelled due to a kick, it is different. The Gemara concludes that Rabbi Abba Bar Mamel's dilemma shall stand unresolved, teku. I believe this is the 122nd teku in Shas. Okay, let us continue. Boimine Rav Yirmiyah Mirab Zera. Rabbi Jeremiah raised a dilemma before Rabbi Zera. If the animal was walking in the public domain and it kicked and propelled pebbles and caused damage, what is the halacha? The Gemara elaborates, do we liken the damage in this instance to goring, since the action was performed with intent, and therefore the owner of the animal is liable even though the incident transpired in the public domain? Or perhaps, since this is a case of pebbles, it is classified as a subcategory of trampling, and the owner is exempt from liability in the public domain. Rabbi Zera said to him, it stands to reason that it is a subcategory of trampling. Rabbi Yirmiyah continued, Rabbi Yirmiyah, sometimes I switch off, okay. Rabbi Jeremiah continued and asked Rabbi Zera another question. If an animal propelled pebbles in the public domain and caused damage on private property, what was the halacha? Rabbi Zera said to him, employing terminology from the halachot of Shabbat, if there is no act of lifting here, is there an act of placing? There's no akira, but is there hanacha? Since the animal propelled the pebbles in the public domain, the owner is exempt from liability for any damage that it causes. The fact that the damage occurred on private property is not irrelevant. Rabbi Yirmiyah raised an objection to Rabbi Zera's first statement, that one is exempt from liability from one's animal propelling pebbles in the public domain because it is classified as a subcategory of trampling from a braita. If an animal, when I say braita, it's different than when I say brisa. If I say braita, I am evoking memories, beautiful memories of yesteryear, verstehst? Of someone who used to come to davening and used to say, braita. I like the sound of braita. If an animal was walking along the way and it propelled pebbles, whether it was on private property or whether it was on public domain, the owner is liable to pay damages. Was what? Is it not a case where the pebbles were propelled in the public domain and caused damage in the public domain? Rabbi Zera replied, no. The reference is to a case where the animal propelled the pebbles in the public domain that caused damage on private property. Rabbi Jeremiah asked him, but didn't you say if there is no act of lifting here, there is an act of placing here? Rabbi Zera said to him, I retract my previous statement, as there is proof from the Braita that there is liability in that case. Rabbi Jeremiah raised, that's like a yeshivish, it's trying to be English. He goes, Jeremiah. Rabbi Jeremiah raised an objection to Rabbi Zera's first statement in the Mishnah. If an animal trod upon a vessel and broke it, and then a shard of that vessel upon a second vessel and broke it, the owner pays the full cost of the damage for the first vessel and its actions classified in the primary category of trampoline, and he pays, and a trampoline came to my place in 2019, and this is daf 19 of Bava Kama. So if I say trampoline, like in American they say trampoline, like a stop talking. I had a teacher in 7th grade who used to go, stop talking, right? So he would probably say trampoline, So a trampoline, if you just like in normal English, you say trampoline, it rhymes with 19. But in 2019, they actually put a trampoline where I live. See, that's the beauty of connecting. You know what I'm saying? And he pays half the cost of the damage. It's also very American. Damage. For the latter vessel, and it is taught in a braita, or a brisa, with regard to the halacha. In what case is this statement said? It is said in a case where the incident transpired on the private property of the injured party. But if it transpired in the public domain, the owner of the animal is exempt from the liability for the first vessel, as it is classified as a subcategory of trampoline. Imagine an ox on a trampoline, doing, and he is liable for the damage to the second vessel. What? Is it not the animal propelled from the pebbles in the public domain that it caused damage in the public domain, indicating that one does not pay for the damage caused by pebbles in the public domain? Rabbi Zera replied, no, perhaps the reference in the Mishnah is to a case where the animal propelled the pebbles in the public domain and it caused damage on private domain. Now you're mamish, you're connecting Bava Kama mit Shabbos. That's the connection. Because there is 157, that's the last page number, which is Kenaz. Okay, but Kenaz Ganze, it's an anagram of Nezek. Are you understanding Yiddish here? There's a connection between Shabbos and Bava Kama. Kanaz, Ezehu Nezek. Verstehst Yiddish? I doubt anyone listened this far, but if they did, I'm going to hear about it one day. Rabbi Jeremiah, I hope to. I hope someone listens this far, that they'll hear Ganze, my Chedushim. I place my Chedushim very deep in the Yama Talmud, so that when I hear people actually saying over the Chedushim, I listened to your daf all the way till the end. Wow, you came to this Meshuggah apart, this crazy Chiddush, that I bury them in there. Either you skipped and by chance you landed here, and that's a miracle in its own right. Or you listened through all the dry stuff and you landed here, and that's also a miracle in its own right. Either way, it's a miracle, right? I'm using Gemara logic. It's a miracle. Rabbi Jeremiah said, but didn't you? Someone asked I had a Rebbe in ninth grade, and someone asked him, why do you learn Gemara? Well, why do you learn these cases? So my Rebbe said, it's to think like a Jew. Think like a Jew. That's why we learn it. It may never happen. You may never have tzroros that bounce off this and bounce off this and break this and koach kocho nezek shalom. No one touches that today. It really is, if you think about it, the most irrelevant. But it makes you think like a Jew. Tracht v'ayid, But for now it's not just for Jews. It's for Gentiles also. Anyone can think like. It's just basically Gentiles can also think like a Jew. Anyone who wants to think can think. You know what I'm saying? That's Taki. That's Ganze, the whole Ganze Gedula. Aber let's finish because we're almost done with part 2, okay? Rabbi Zera said, no, perhaps the reference in the Mishnah is the case where the animal propelled the pebbles in the public domain and it caused damage on private property. Rabbi Jeremiah said, but didn't you say, if there is no act of lifting here, is there an act of placing here? Rabbi Zera said to him, I retract my previous statement. Rabbi Jeremiah raises an additional objection to Rabbi Zera's statement. Is that so? Is the owner of the animal exempt from liability for pebbles propelled by his animal in the public domain? Okay, wow, this is great. We actually filled up to almost half of the second one. So I'm gonna milk this for all it's worth. So I encourage anyone who has made it this far to really type in the comments or leave a comment after, to say, Gemara today, Gemara is for everybody. It's not just for the Yidden, it's for the Goyim, it's for the Christians, it's for the Jews, the Islamics, whoever wants to study can study. Kol dichvin yesiv yechel, you know what I'm saying? Whoever's hungry, come and eat. Mishkan Nesach,